I have to say, I walked into this show not knowing really anything. I knew it was supposedly creepy and funny, and I saw some promotional material that kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies. I was like, that's some creepy-ass imagery, but I highly doubt it will truly be creepy, because anime, in my opinion, generally isn't. It might have a couple of spooks, but nothing that's really gonna unnerve me or make me lose my sleep. And I'm not saying I'm gonna have nightmares from this, but I have to say this is some of the creepiest anime I've seen personally, because the thing that makes this show, I think, so worthwhile is the originality of what the main character is dealing with and how into the designs they truly have detailed, with the smoky mist to the horrifying faces and bodies. And I know some people will want to experience this as blind as possible. They're probably saying, well, what's the reason to watch this? The best way I could sum it up without really ruining it is I don't want to show some of the images that truly are spooky unless you've seen the episode. But the overall premise is very interesting, of a girl who sees horrifying monsters but has to pretend that she doesn't because they always ask, "Can you see me?" And the way she responds to these situations is very fresh and exciting. So that's the best way I can sum it up without having to spoil like certain situations. So please do yourself a favor, go watch as many of these scenes as fresh in your mind as possible, first time only. It is absolutely incredible. Now, the overall episode kicks off with something which I thought was going to be like in their own world. I wasn't expecting that intro scene to be like a movie or a TV show that they're watching on the couch, but I thought it really set up the atmosphere quite well, because I knew there was monsters and characters were going to see them. So even though I knew this wasn't our main character, as clearly promotional material indicated that Miko was going to be the main character, or at least one of them. But I love the idea of someone running to their apartment, the lights not coming on, somehow the microwave turning on by itself, and something from the ring popping out of your fridge, right? It's just, there's a lot of horrifyingness about that, and then it just transitions to people watching a movie. And I'm like, okay, so if that's just a movie, and I know there's actually monsters and ghosts and ghouls and goblins a part of this world, clearly they know what they're doing with their directing. And I think the idea of someone who's actively looking at those things, but clearly is going to be a part of them in their world, it's kind of like a nice setup, right? To make you say like, oh, she definitely doesn't have a fear in her body. And it almost gave me the impression that she was clearly watching those types of things because she needs to kind of have the stomach to do so. And then most of the episode, it's just her going to school, interacting with her friend Hana. Apparently has the metabolism of like an 8-year-old boy, can eat as much as she wants, doesn't grow anywhere other than her chest by her dialogue. And to see just the constant build-up throughout it, it was just more of like, okay, clearly some horrifying things are going to happen to her. There's no way you get around poster images and PVs like the ones that I witnessed. And then to see the build-up, to see the relationship, clearly good friendship, have a decent family life, and the subtle setup like the handprint on the mirror, or just the kind of constantly watching over your shoulder. And when the first time it happened, right, she drops her charm, or something dropped her charm for her. She goes back to the school, the lights are going out, things are moving in the background, starts to rain, and when I saw this, and it was just like, "Can you see me?" and she didn't flinch, I was kind of dumbfounded, because I never read the synopsis, like on my anime list or anything, which does say that she has to pretend. I didn't see that, so it really caught me by surprise, but since it has been in the synopsis, I guess most people probably assumed as much. But the idea of her clenching her skirt, but not showing any reaction on her face, and the fact that she's having to act like, oh, I have to respond to this text message, as you're basically probably shitting your pants, as this horrifying, disgusting creature. Seriously, if there was one thing they needed to nail on the production, it was the designs of these creatures. The smoky mist with the peeling of the skin and organs coming out of their stomach, this is peak Halloween horror thriller design, and I hope this type of quality remains consistent, which I think it probably will, because what we saw in this episode, even though they're very highly detailed and they pop up so often, like there was like 5 or 6 different ones in this episode, they don't move all that much, which means they can probably put a lot of attention and finer details in an object that's only going to move a little bit, but is more designed to shock, and if something does really chase them, well then at that point that's when you put more resources into making sure that animation matches the art design. But to just see the numerous situations like the bathroom where she's brushing her teeth, and you have to pretend, oh, there's something in my eye, but it just won't leave you alone. To the mommy issues who you're trying to go to bed and this horrifying thing's under the covers with you and you just have to roll with the punches. I mean, to see the situations and how she has to find new ways. I mean, honestly, I have no idea how someone lives day after day dealing with that. Like, you can definitely see the way comedy can be portrayed because, clearly this isn't a normal thing. There'll probably be maybe a couple other characters who might end up seeing them, or maybe there'll be a couple other characters that believe in Miko and what she's saying, so they'll be a part of the situation even if they can't see it. But it's not a normal thing, so you can see how they can do both comedy and horror very well. For her, it's not something she's getting used to. In fact, she's getting more petrified as the situations go on. But on the flip side, the character's like, oh, are we on the 3rd floor? Did you hit your head? Of course we're on. And then this horrifying thing pops up in front of your best friend, and you have to figure out what the hell do you do and how do you get out of that situation. The idea of horror and comedy doesn't usually work in the way that I think people want it to, because I think when it's designed to be horror and comedy, you lose one of them because it's usually on the horror side, because if you're being goofy while there's, quote-unquote frightening things on screen, it's not scary. But I think they finally struck a balance here by having something be scary for the character and the viewer. I mean, I honestly got a few shivers. I mean, we're in the month of October, we're getting into Spooktober here, and this shit was genuinely creepy. I'm not gonna have nightmares unless I start seeing shit like this in my own day-to-day life, but they blended the horror with its main character with the situations being kind of socially awkward, in return being funny. And you can see a lot of ways that I think this could be hilarious, like these ghouls and these ghosts, these monsters. Like if they went to the cafe, right, and they're having some tea, and one of these creatures sat down in one of the empty chairs, you would have to have a normal conversation with your friends as this horrifying monster is sitting next to you. Perfect blend of horror meets comedy, right? This is something that I truly think is going to stick out from this year. I mean, I heard some hype going into this one, but like I said, I didn't know all too much, and the sound design to the visual design is so well done, and probably some of the most original opening and ending songs I've heard in some time. I mean, the opening kicks off with this frantic breath as if someone was running away, and the ending song sounds like the monsters are singing. Like, the way they designed this to be both kind of goofy but terrifying is perfectly well done. Like, shit, I'm just happy this show exists. It didn't need to be this polished. It didn't need to have every bell and whistle imaginable, but I think anyone who probably read the source materials looking at this, looking at what normal monster designs look like in anime, I'm probably giving out a damn sigh of relief saying, thank God Bastion just absolutely hit it out of the park. We got 12 episodes of this banger of a show. Fall season was the perfect season to debut it, though we probably will be in Christmas season saying, hot damn, this is some terrifying shit. If we don't get a Christmas episode, that'll be a missed opportunity. But let me know your thoughts and feelings on this wonderful, wonderful first episode. Fall season coming in strong. Favorite moment down below? Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.